mic over here where I can reach it.
Okay.
This table is a little further over than I thought I wanted it. I need to move it a little bit closer, but that we'll do it next time. All right. So we should be on. Hey, Philippa.
Slip in here. Okay. I think I moved my microphone back just a little bit to get it in position. That should be perfect.
And hope things are going well your way up there in
Yes.
New York.
Oh, wait a minute. That can't be the one because that's the wrong shirt. So that can't be me. Let me try this again.
Microphones are
I believe this says live. Now Dan is here. Hey,
Dan.
that other Philippa wasn't here.
Oh.
Dan is here.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm hoping we're looking good. Dan says, nice shirt. Thank you. And Ziggy is here.
Hello, Ziggy.
Hi, George and Lynn.
Guten Abend,
Greetings.
sir.
Yes. Yeah, this shirt was one that one I think Mom had. I really like a lot, so I decided to wear it today. It's very nice and cool and comfortable, kind of.
Limber up the fingers here.
Indeed. Now, Amber's here. Hey, all.
Hey, Amber.
I'm going to try to listen in today. It's a quiet day at the library.
Well,
Good,
I hope
good.
you get to. It's going to be a great show.
I keep adjusting my microphone so that it's where it needs to be.
Okay.
So I hope that's good.
Me too. Just got to believe.
Well, I wanted to turn a little bit so that, and things look different today, too.
Yes, this is a whole
different.
new look for the show today.
Yeah.
We moved from in front of those dark curtains.
Although I look like I have quite a tan, too, because I'm up against this whiter wall.
Well, we'll work on the video another day. It's been a really eventful couple of weeks here, so...
Well, if I get too warm with this shirt's silk, and it might get too warm. I don't know.
Oh, are you going to take it off on camera?
Only if you play the right music. The answer is no. Amber said the lighting is much nicer.
I don't know how to play the stripper on the Autoharp, but
all
I'll
right.
learn it for
You'll
the next
learn
time,
it for the
I
next
promise.
one. Now I am turning colors.
Right, now you're red.
Now I really am turning.
I don't have any sense. I just say whatever kind of comes to mind.
Yes. Well, so do I, and that makes us a good pair, right?
Absolutely.
I don't know a pair of what, but...
Yeah. A pair of what is a good question there. That's a little better.
Yes, we may be adjusting things a little bit.
It's a new set, and we'll improve it as times go on, as time goes on.
Oh, that hair's out of place. There we go. Let me get this back out. There. Now, I'll quit fiddling.
No, you won't.
Well, I hope you guys are all doing well today.
Everyone's doing well.
It's a beautiful day here, although it is quite
It's a little
cool. We're having
Temperatures-
a Canadian summer, as Mom used to call it.
Well, it went away, but it's come
Now
back.
it's come back. Quite chilly today for this time of year. I've known late May to go up to 100 degrees and 100% humidity and just be totally miserable.
Temperatures in the 60s.
Yeah.
What time is it?
Oh, well, that's important. Let's try turning the clock right side up. There we go. 101.
It's 13.
That's what?
Okay.
Time to go.
Anyone else with us?
No other comments yet?
No other comments
The last
yet.
one was that Amber likes the lighting. Said I do.
Oh, okay. Well, where should we start here?
I thought you knew.
Well,
I don't know. You mean you don't know where we're going?
I know where I'm going. I had some requests, but I think I'll hold on to those
Yes.
for a little while here.
Dan says 59 degrees, 19 mile per hour winds. You guys aren't very warm up there either.
No.
And windy. We don't have that.
We've got some wind out of the northwest, and we're not that much warmer than they are. It's only about 65 out there.
Yeah.
All right. Today's show is called Hey Ray,
In the
and it is featuring the music of Ray Stevens, one of my favorite comedic musicians. And some of these I've played a lot. Some of them I haven't. I hope you'll enjoy them. And we'll start out with the Bricklayer's Song. Dear sir, I write this note to you to tell you of me plight. For at the time of writing I am not a pretty sight. Me body is all black and blue, me face a deathly grey. And I write this note to tell you why I'm not at work today. While working on the 14th floor, some bricks I had to clear. But to toss them down from such a height was not a good idea. Me foreman wasn't very pleased, he is an awkward sod. And he said I'd have to cart them down the ladders in me hod. Well, shifting all those bricks by hand, it was so very slow. So I hoisted up a barrel and secured the rope below. But in me haste to do the job, I was too blind to see that a barrel full of building bricks is heavier than me. And so when I untied the rope, the barrel fell like lead. And clinging tightly to the rope, I started up instead. I shot up like a rocket till to my dismay I found halfway up I met the bloody barrel coming down. The barrel broke me shoulder as to the ground it sped. And when I reached the top I banged the pulley with me head. Still clinging tightly, numbed with shock from this almighty blow, the barrel spilled out half the bricks 14 floors below. And when the bricks had fallen from the barrel to the floor, I then outweighed the barrel and so started down once more. Still clinging tightly to the rope, me body racked with pain. Halfway down I met the bloody barrel once again. The force of this collision halfway down the office block caused multiple contusions and a nasty state of shock. Still clinging tightly to the rope, I fell toward the ground and landed on the broken bricks the barrel had scattered round. I lay there groaning on the ground, I thought I'd passed the worst, but the barrel hit the pulley wheel and then the bottom burst. A shower of bricks rained down on me, I didn't have a hope, for as I lay there bleeding, I let go the bleeding rope. The barrel being unsecured started down once more and landed right across me as I lay there on the floor. It broke 3 ribs in my left arm, and I can only say, I hope you'll understand why Murphy's not at work today.
Oh. Dan was saying in the quote-unquote D, I think he was talking about the weather still.
No, in Detroit.
Oh, in the D in Detroit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And Flip said, hi, guys. Pretty chilly up here.
Hey, Philippa. Welcome.
Welcome. And Hillary is here.
Hello, Hillary.
And she said, greetings from County Down. And Nan is here. Nancy Beatty. Hi, little late, but glad to be here now.
Wonderful to see you,
welcome.
Nan.
Yes.
Sorry about the interruption on the phone call this morning. Our vet broke in on it.
Yes.
I hope you got our my voicemail.
Oh, Jerry's here. Jerry Burgess.
Hey, Jerry.
Jr. Good evening,
Doggone
my
it.
friends.
Great to
Sounds good
see
as
you.
always.
Great to see
Good
you,
to have
sir.
all you guys.
Indeed.
Yeah, we've had a little bit of a thing with our dog this week.
Our Great Dane Sadie had major surgery, abdominal surgery this week, and is.
It was an emergency
recovering.
spay.
It was an emergency spay.
It was not the bloat or anything like that.
No.
She just had to get in and get spayed. She had an infection.
And so we've been taking care of her around the clock and everything. So
That's
things
why
are a little weird this week.
Yeah.
But we shall soldier on, as they say.
Indeed. She's doing well. That's the important thing.
Yes, indeed.
I was pretty worried about her, but she's good.
Here's another one by Ray. All of these are by Ray up until we get to a couple of the requests. I'm going to go ahead and do one of the requests here.
Okay.
This was requested by Dan Pressler a couple of weeks ago, but I haven't heard from Dan lately, so if he's listening later, he can pick this one up. It is the opening song to a movie made in 1958 starring Robert Mitchum, and it's the movie is called Thunder Road. It's about a guy who's running whiskey, and the song is called The Ballad of Thunder Road. Here it is. Let me tell the story, I can tell it all, about a mountain boy who ran illegal alcohol. His daddy made the whiskey, his sonny drove the load. When his engine roared it, they called the highway Thunder Road. Sometimes into Asheville, sometimes to Memphis town. The revenuers chased him, but they couldn't run him down. Each time they thought they had him, his engine would explode, and he'd go by like they were standing still on Thunder Road. Thunder, thunder, over Thunder Road. Thunder was his engine, and white lightning was his load. Moonshine, moonshine, to quench the devil's thirst. The law, they never got him, 'cause the devil got him first. On the 1st of April, 1954, federal man sent word he'd better make his run no more. He said 200 agents were covering the state. Whichever road he tried to take, they'd get him sure as fate. Son, his daddy told him, make this run your last. Your tank is filled with 100 proof, you're all tuned up and gassed. Now don't take any chances, and if you can't get through, I'd rather have you back again than all that Mountain Dew. Thunder, thunder over Thunder Road. Thunder was his engine and white lightning was his load. Moonshine, moonshine to quench the devil's thirst. The law they never got him 'cause the devil got him first. Roaring into Harlem, revving up his mill. He shot the gap at Cumberland and screamed by Maynardville. G-men on his taillights, roadblock up ahead. Mountain boy took roads that even angels feared to tread. Blazing right through Knoxville, out on Jackson Pike. It was just outside of Bearden that they made their fatal strike. He left the road at 90, that's all there was to say. The devil got the moonshine and the mountain boy that day. Thunder, thunder over Thunder Road. Thunder was his engine, thunder was his engine, and white lightning was his load. Moonshine, moonshine to quench the devil's thirst. The law they never got him 'cause the devil got him first.
Wow. I like that one.
It's a good song. It's a good movie, too, by the way.
Yes.
I watched it last night just because I had the opportunity to do so.
Oh, you did?
Yes, it's a good movie.
Hillary said best wishes to Sadie.
Thank you, Hillary.
Nan said, yes, got your message. I was on a call with my son when you called back.
Oh, good. Okay.
Okay. And Bob Hale. Hello, George and Lynn.
Hello, Bob.
X, love you too. Love you guys too. We're so glad to have you to join us.
Is Brenda with you? Because if she is, I have a request just for her that I will be eternally grateful to her for making. So let me know.
And Flip said, was afraid I'd be late because we had to take the general to the vet. So
oh, dear. It's not a good week for animals.
No. And Rick Candy, great to be with you
hey,
both
Rick,
today.
nice to see you.
My best thoughts and hopes for a positive recovery for your dog. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
She is doing well. She's in here lying down over there with us so we can keep an eye on her. She's doing good.
She figured it out as soon as we started setting up for the show.
Right, she wanted to be in here.
She comes in here and lays down, so
yeah.
She's doing better.
Had us a little scared there. They
well, we got it.
got likes coming up on that one. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Here's a song that tells a true story. I remember when this happened. I was still into nightly news back then. And
back in the day.
Pardon me. I heard a news story about this riot that broke out at a funeral in Ducktown, Tennessee. And I'm going like, okay, you might be a redneck.
Right.
And Ray did a song about it. This is a true story. Like I say, I heard the news story and on TV, and it's called The Family Funeral Fight. He was just a little feller, stood about 5'3", but he caused a great commotion down in Ducktown, Tennessee. Now, it was not one thing the old man did or a single word that he said. In fact, the trouble didn't start till 3 days after he was dead. It was a military funeral with the family gathered round to show the old man honor and to ease him in the ground. But a murmur spread throughout the crowd, and the mourners' blood ran cold when up pulled a great big squad car marked Tennessee State Patrol. It was the old man's youngest son, doing 25 to life, for burning down his brother's trailer and running off with his wife. The family was divided, held together by an uneasy truce, and a woman yelled, "I still love you, Earl," and all hell broke loose. Uncles, sisters, brothers, cousins, knife and fist fights by the dozen, yelling, spitting, fighting, hitting. What a sight to see at the Ducktown knockdown family funeral fight. It started in the afternoon and it lasted half the night. 10 were stabbed, 2 were shot, nobody walked or talked quite right. After the Ducktown knockdown family funeral fight. Well, they called the county Mounties, more highway patrol. And after about an hour or two, they finally regained control. The sheriff said, "This is a disgrace, and I'm hauling all y'all in. But not until we brought this service to a decent end." Then the honor guard stepped forward, fired their rifles in the air. An old lady who was snoozing jumped and fell out of her chair. And when she hit that AstroTurf, you won't believe what happened then. A boy yelled, "Oh, they shot Grandma," and the whole thing started again. Police, mourners, honor guard, relatives from near and far, fussing, cussing, fighting, biting. What a sight to see at the Ducktown knockdown family funeral fight. It started in the afternoon and it lasted half the night. 10 were stabbed, 2 were shot, nobody walked or talked quite right. After the Ducktown knockdown family funeral fight, it was a Ducktown knockdown family funeral feud. You can't believe the mayhem and the chaos that ensued. Why, they even shot the sheriff, punched out the preacher's lights at the Ducktown knockdown family funeral fight.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
Can you see it? All them rednecks, all dressed up in their Sunday best, just mixing it up.
Bob said, just got on. It's 7:15 here. Bren's here.
Oh, good.
I saw the Wurzel's live years ago.
Did you really?
That
Man.
had to be something.
Yeah, let me explain all this to everybody else because nobody is going to understand what we're talking about here. Last show, Brenda Hale requested a song called Harvest of Love by Benny Hill. Well, I didn't know that Benny had done any songs or whatever, so I was intrigued, and I looked it up, and I listened to it, and about 5 minutes after the song ended, when I quit laughing long enough, I did a little research, to find out who wrote it and when it was recorded and all of that kind of stuff. And it was written by Benny Hill and Tony Hatch, who was his producer. It was released on a 45 RPM record in 1963 and went up to number 20 on the British pop charts. And it's one of the funniest songs I've heard in a while. I hope you get as big a kick out of it as I did. And then I'll tell you more about it after I get through it, if I can get through it without cracking up. Let's see here. Where am I? Okay. I rise at 6 and I feed the chicks and I'm feeling lonesome and blue. And as I milk the cow, it seems somehow my thoughts keep straying to you. And as the horse and I plow the field nearby, your memory I can't erase. And as I walk at the rear of the horse, my dear, somehow it seems I can see your face. I I knew this was going to happen. and I will sow the seeds of deep devotion. And I will sow the seeds of deep devotion. Fertilize it with emotion. Water it with warm desire, and I'll reap the harvest of love. I was happy as a pig in spite of the way you looked at me when I met you at the village dance. For you were in the ladies' excuse me at the time, and I didn't think I had a chance. But then you let me walk you home through Flats Meadow, and I knew with you I would be a hit. For I got an old cow to get up and walk away, so you'd have a nice dry place to sit. I will sow the seeds of deep devotion, fertilize it with emotion, water it with warm desire, and then I'll reap the harvest of love. Bah! Side by side, together we'll ride in my horse and buggy one day. As the daylight ends and the night descends, my horse will run out of hay. And then I'll kiss those lips, those tempting lips, the only ones that can thrill me. And I'll hold you tight neath the stars so bright. If the wife ever finds out, she'll kill me. And I will sow the seeds of deep devotion, fertilize it with emotion, water it with warm desire, and then I'll reap the harvest of love. So the seeds of deep devotion, fertilize it with emotion, water it with warm desire, and then I'll reap the harvest of love.
Okay.
Oh,
that one. Oh, Bob, Bren here. Bob is singing along with you.
Oh, good.
And Hillary said my signal is breaking up, so I'll have to listen tomorrow. Bye for now.
I'm sorry. Well,
So
have a good day, Hillary, and thank you for stopping by.
Yes,
We'll miss you.
always.
Always
Thank you.
really enjoy your participation in the show.
Yes.
That song is just one of those. My parents owned a farm. I've handled stock and everything, but you start listening to it and it just gets funnier, like every verse. It's absolutely hilarious. So, as I was researching this, it said I found a Wikipedia article on it or whatever, and it said it was covered by a group called the Wurzels. I'd never heard of the Wurzels, and they are one of the funniest groups that I've heard in many a month. Probably right back to the Four Bitchin' Babes, who did such hits as Viagra in the Water.
Oh.
These guys are hilarious. Now, some of their humor is Anglo-centric. It's British, and I didn't get it. But there are enough songs there that I expect I will borrow a few in future shows. So many thanks for requesting the song, Brenda. It led me to the Wurzels.
Yes,
And,
that was a good thing.
I knocked over my ice water when I was listening to songs like 40 and Bone Dry and Drink Your Cider and things like that.
I have a few comments.
Okay.
Flip said, we need to do that song at Penzic or other SCA events.
Love to.
And Ivan is here.
Hello,
Hi,
Ivan.
Hi, Lynn and George. I love being greeted with a raspberry. Sorry about that.
Well, it's your fault for being late.
That's right.
So there.
And Bob said, so funny. And then Flip said, ever heard I prefer a moose? And Dan said, Linda's here now. She was finishing up her French lesson. She says hi. And hi to Linda and welcome.
Bonjour, Linda.
Oh, there you go.
Write that down.
Oh,
that
okay,
song.
Okay.
I prefer a moose. Sounds like my kind of song. Don't want anybody to get any wrong ideas there. I hope I can do it. There's a thing Mason Williams does called Them You Doers that Linda will not let me do. So there are some, I do draw the line somewhere. Honest, I do. I have scruples. If you haven't already done so, stop by and listen to Ivan Stiles.
Absolutely.
He does a concert every Sunday afternoon. He's braver than I am. I can only manage a couple of weeks. Mine are a little longer, but a couple of months, I mean. But Ivan's are great. Old folk songs that are really good that you've probably not heard before. He has a great group of people in his audience, people like Stu Schneider, who are a laugh a minute. And I know, Ivan, you've never heard of him. But if you're not doing anything else, stop by at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon Eastern time and give Ivan Stiles and Nancy a listen. It's well worth your time, I promise.
Yes.
Okay. Benji's not here yet. But I'm going to go ahead and do this anyway, and then he can catch up. Amber, if you're still listening, tell him I did his song. This is called The Higher Education of Old Blues.
Yes.
Now my daddy was a backwoods self-made type, never went to school, couldn't read or write, but he made a fortune selling hogs and was suspicious of education. So when I told him I was going off to school, he said, well, you'll just become some city-fied fool. Don't expect no help from me, son. No financial remuneration. Well, my dad was tight, but he loved his dogs, that's true. And his favorite of the pack was called Old Blue. So I called my dad when I got to college. I said, Dad, I know you don't think too much of human knowledge, but they got a course down here where they can teach dogs to speak. Now, I don't mean speak like bark for a bone. No, they say these dogs can carry on an intelligent conversation. And some even go on to teach. And when I heard of that course, of course, I thought of you. And how great it'd be for you to sit and talk to Old Blue. Well, the line went silent, and I thought all was lost. He finally spoke up and said, what's that cost? I said, Pop, it's a bargain at $5,000 per semester. Well, he didn't balk and he didn't complain, and Blue showed up on the very next train, and that's how my dad became the proud investor in the higher education of Old Blue. A story that if it's not, it ought to be true, about a fiscal windfall situation of my very own creation, the inspiration that I call the education of Old Blue. And the money just kept rolling in. 8 semesters, $40,000. Woo! All too soon, time to graduate. The day had come that I'd grown to hate. The day I'd have to go home and face my dad. I got off the train. He said, where's Old Blue? Come here, boy, I want to talk to you. I swallowed hard and said, Pop, I got some news, and I'm afraid it's bad. See, coming home on the train, Blue was smoking his pipe and reading the New York Times when he took off his glasses and he said to me, are you aware of your daddy's crimes? Well, he's a mass murderer, just ask any hog, and he treated my mama just like a dog, rubbed my nose in stuff you wouldn't believe, made me sleep on the hard, cold ground, But I can talk now, and his days are through, 'cause I'm gonna tell your mama about a thing or two about his secret drinking habit. Yeah, and his affair with the Widow Brown. When I heard Blue say those things, Pop, something snapped inside my brain. And I grabbed him up and I strangled him. And I threw him off the train. Well, he looked at me with his eyes ablaze and his face contorted like somebody crazed, and it didn't look like he believed a word I'd said. Well, he grabbed my coat and he pulled me real close. He said, "Boy, there's just one thing I want to know. Are you real sure that no good lying flea bag is dead?" And that's the story of the higher education of Old Blue. A story that if it's not, it ought to be true. About a fiscal windfall situation of my very own creation. The inspiration that I call the education of Old Blue. The inspiration that I call the education of Old Blue.
I love that one too. It's a good one.
Yeah,
Ivan said, "Thanks for that wonderful plug," and Philippa gave us a link to YouTube.
For I Prefer a Moose?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. I will definitely look into that. I love stuff like that. Well, I don't know. It's a little after lunchtime. Might be time to sit down and have something to eat. And drink. Pardon me. Got a kind of a scratchy throat today for some reason. Here is a song called Gourmet Restaurants. I went to the Chez Paris. Food was good there, I'd been told. Said I ought to try that there vichyssoise. When they brought it, heck, it was cold. So I said, "Don't you just have some tomato soup?" He said, "The gazpacho is awfully nice." I said, "Well, bring me a big bowl of that." He did. That blamed it wasn't cold as ice. Well, you can have those high-priced gourmet restaurants. The waiters act snooty and they walk kind of fruity and they won't bring you what you want. Now, I like greens, cornbread and beans and a big old glass of iced tea. And I tell you, friends, them gourmet restaurants ain't for me. A few months later, some friends insisted we try out the Chateau Le Roux. Waited an hour and a half before we sat down. Heck, I couldn't even read the menu. So I asked the waiter, "How's the beef?" He said, "This steak tartare is the best you'll ever had." He brought it, and friends, I thought I'd seen rare meat, but this one wasn't even hurt real bad. Couple of Band-Aids, and that boy would have been back out there grazing. Well, I just couldn't eat that steak tartare. I was confused in every way. I wasn't even too sure about the soup du jour. I hear they change it every day. Then the waiter said, "Monsieur, I have frog's legs that are guaranteed to please." I said, "Well, hooray, boy, hop on back there in the kitchen and bring me a grilled cheese." Well, they said I ought to at least try out some of the wonderful desserts. Hadn't been able to eat anything else, so I figured, heck, what can it hurt? I said I'd like to have a little ice cream. The waiter said, "If that is your desire, the cherry jubilee is magnifique." And when he brought it, heck, it was on fire. I jumped up, grabbed one, dumped one of them cold bowls of tater soup on it before it could set off the sprinkler system. Probably saved them from a major fire. But did they appreciate it? No. told me not to never come back. You don't have to worry about that. They said the food there was fit for a king. They were right. Here, king. Here, boy. Beef tornado. What's that? A steak been run over by a Oldsmobile? I've seen chocolate eggs and chocolate bunny rabbits, but I'm telling you, a chocolate mousse ain't never gonna catch on. Seems like all it has to do to qualify as gourmet food would be raw or on fire. Yeah.
Bob Hale, Education of Old Blue, great song. We are eating dinner and drinking wine, 7:40 p.m. here. Brenda likes songs about food.
So we have another one if we get to it, if we don't run out of time. And I might move it up. We have another one about food.
Yes.
I don't know if you all were with us at that point in time, but I did a whole show of songs about food.
Oh, that's right.
I'll find out the show number. But if you look back on the Autoharp Down Home page, every one of these performances is back there, and it's, I want to say show 32 or thereabouts. It was about 4 or 5 months ago I did it. It's all about food and dieting and everything. And
that was right. Yeah.
Yeah. So if she
right
likes
after the
songs about
holidays,
food,
you did
that's the one for her. Check that one out when you get time. Each one of them has a title, and that one's called Food and Dieting, I think. Just wanted to welcome any newcomers who might be lurking out there. If you're listening for the first time, we're really glad to have you. And we would...
Sadie, no. Sadie,
no!
Come here.
Sorry, folks.
We have Sadie coming
Sadie
to
wanted
see
to
us.
dig up the carpet. That's a good girl. Don't do that.
Not do that.
Oh, shake.
That's Sadie. You can see she's doing okay.
Hi, Lulu.
And there's Lulu.
So don't pay attention to that big dog.
That
I'm
big
more
dog.
important. Anyway, if you're joining us for the first time, like I said, we're delighted to have you with us. Why not drop us a comment? Tell us, give us your name and tell us where you're listening from. And if you like, follow this page. Like or follow the Autoharp Down Home page, and you'll get notifications when each show, you'll get invitations to every show. There are a few other little things that I post here, but not a lot. This page is pretty much dedicated to these live streams. And so, leave us a comment. Tell us who you are. We'd love to get to know you a little bit. This is kind of like a visit for us.
I may have to take Sadie out.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and do
I hate
that.
to do that, guys, but
Lynn will be right
I'll
back.
be right back.
Yeah, I think she might
I
have
have
to.
no other comments, but she wouldn't be up and around.
No, she needs something.
Right. I'll be right back. Come on,
Okay. So, leave us a comment if you're so inclined. We'd love to get to know you better. Well, we had a nice dinner. Now let's have a little bit to drink. This is called Happy Hour is the Saddest Time of the Day. We used to get hammered every afternoon at 5, and for 2 hours we'd keep pouring them down. Doubles for $2 till we could barely survive. Then we walk out the door and weave all over town. We were ripped, we were staggered, we were hopelessly blind. We were drunk on love and anything else we could find. But then you sobered up and you drifted away. Now happy hour is the saddest time of the day. Oh, can't you remember the good times we had? You sing it up at the bar. We would have been terrors out on the road, but we never could locate the car. We were ripped, we were staggered, we were hopelessly blind. We were drunk on love and anything else we could find. But then you sobered up and you drifted away. Now a happy hour is the saddest time of the day. Oh, darling, how could you leave me after all the good times we had? You remember the time you set my car on fire? When you found me in the back seat with a cocktail waitress? You talk about a hot date. We nearly melted in each other's arms. Or how you used to light the filter tip into your cigarette and smoke it right down. Said it reminded you of Cleveland. Or how I used to walk into the wrong restroom all the time. That's how we met, up close and personal. Or the quiet times when we stop and get pizza and go home and have nightmares together. Remember New Year's Eve when you passed out in your ice cream? You nearly froze to death. You talk about fun. How could you leave all that? Now we don't even speak the same language. I speak tequila and you speak Perrier. Oh, here I sit drinking your double. It's not as though, see, I blacked out there. It's not as though we were alcoholics. 10 or 15 cocktails before dinner, a couple bottles of wine, some brandy nightcaps. We knew our limits. Now, we don't even speak the same language. I speak tequila and you speak Perrier. Oh, here I sit drinking your doubles and mine with a million memories, take your pick. And my tears start falling like Thunderbird wine. I just can't hold on. I think I'm gonna get sick. We were ripped, we were staggered, we were hopelessly blind. We were drunk on love and anything else we could find. But then you sobered up and you drifted away. Now happy hour is the saddest. Oh, happy hour is the saddest. Yes, happy hour is the saddest time of the day.
That's a good one. I'm back, by the way.
Yeah.
Dog and I are back.
Good.
And I had a
We missed you.
Oh, why, thank you.
The show's just not the same without you.
Well, good. Flip said, another for you, commonly sung for SCA birthdays. Verses are always being added, meaning that the song about the moose.
Oh,
I prefer
I
a
see.
moose, yes.
Okay,
And,
well.
then Bob said, we'll check that food diet past show you mentioned. And then
Good.
Flip gave us the link to the song,
Okay.
Viking Birthday.
Viking Birthday.
That's what it said here.
Okay. Well, that's a different song. You might want to write that name down so that if...
I may have something wrong, but I'll write it down.
Okay. Yeah. Happy hour is the saddest time of the day. 10 or 15 cocktails. Wow. I drink one, and that's about it.
Flip said, no Viking birthday. That's what I said, I think. But
All right, we'll figure it out.
yeah.
All right. Well, it's late spring over here
Yes.
in the in the States, and the great American pastime is upon us, baseball.
Oh, yes, of course.
And children are indoctrinated into that thing from a very early age. My microphone has slipped here a little bit. Just give me a second.
No problem.
To fix that. Either it slipped or I did. Anyway, here's another song by Ray. This one's it's called The Little League. I don't regret 1 minute that I spent with my kids. I guess it was just about the best thing that I ever did. And I don't begrudge a day I spent trying to meet their needs. Except the year I volunteered to coach the Little League. I remember batting practice. I put a baseball on a string. I told this kid, now when I nod my head, haul off and hit that thing. Give him credit. He did exactly what I said. The second that I nodded, he hit me in the head. Oh, pitch and catch and hit and run now, how hard can it be? But if you think it's just a game, you're wrong as you can be. I never had a harder job, more stress and more fatigue than the year I volunteered to coach the Little League. Well, we lost the season opener, and then games 2 and 3. Nobody could seem to hit the ball, and it was sitting on a tee. Then my kid finally hit a little dribbler in the dirt. You know, I think he might have beat it out if he'd only run toward first. Then I told my wife I'm quitting, 'cause every game's the same. They whine and cry and fuss and fight and argue and complain. She said, well, why don't you call the parents? Maybe they can help you out. I said, honey, you don't seem to understand. It's the parents I'm talking about. Whoa, pitch and catch and hit and run now, how hard can it be? If you think it's just a game, you're wrong as you can be. Well, I never had a harder job, more stress and more fatigue than the year I volunteered to coach the Little League. Then we finally won a game. The other team didn't show up. Seems the coach had a nervous breakdown trying to figure out his lineup. He had 18 parents and a dozen kids, and there was just one hitch. 15 parents wanted to coach and 11 kids wanted to pitch. The last game of the season was the wildest one by far. The umpire ran screaming from the field and locked himself in the car. As the parents beat and rocked the car, trying to make it tip, I was back on the field giving the kids a lecture about good sportsmanship. Whoa, pitch and catch and hit and run now, how hard can it be? And if you think it's just a game, you're wrong as you can be. Well, I never had a harder job, more stress and more fatigue than the year I volunteered to coach the Little League. Oh, why'd I ever volunteer to coach the Little League? Then there was that game we tied, 0-0. A brickbat came sailing out of the stands and laid the umpire out cold. One of the little mothers threw it. Said the umpire was a four-eyed, no-good, lying, cheating bozo. She ought to know she'd been married to him for 14 years. You know, it's dangerous out here. I think I'll give me a job on a SWAT team or something. Guy could get hurt out here.
Amber said T-ball starts at age 4 around here, and then Bob Hale said, George, have a look at the singing postman. Have yar got a light bore? I don't know how to say that, but... And then Amber said, OMG, this was my boys. It's such a true song. And Bob said, hello, Fran, Brenda's sister-in-law-to-be. Fran does a good version of Benny Hill's Fastest Milkman in the West.
Write it down.
Okay.
Is Fran with us?
I
if
think
so, hello, Fran.
Hello, Fran, yeah.
Welcome. I think she's joined us before. That name is familiar. I think she's been with us before, and I hope she's with us now. And
yes.
And welcome. Yeah. And Bob, the singing postman. I may have to ask you about some of the dialect there, but I will certainly check him out. I'm gaining more than I'm getting today. People get a lot of new material for me. That's great. Well, guys, I've got some news. Some that just absolutely floored me. A week ago last Monday, a couple days after the last show we did, I got a notification from Facebook that Mike Mueller had sent me a message. And for those of you in the Autoharp community, know who Mike is. And so I'm not very good with Facebook messages, by the way. And if you send me one and I don't return it right away, it's not because I didn't see it or I don't care. It's because sometimes I can't respond to them based on the way my screen reader that translates everything into speech and Facebook play together. Sometimes they play nice together and sometimes they don't. Yeah. And Facebook makes changes, as you know, arbitrarily. So if you send me a message and I don't respond, it's not because I don't care. Anyway, so I looked at the message and Mike asked me to give him a call. Well, now I'm wondering what I did. Anyway, I was absolutely thunderstruck, and Mike offered me a position on the staff of this year's California Autoharp Gathering, which opens on the 19th of October and runs through the 22nd. Let me calculate here. Yeah, I think, anyway, it opens on that Tuesday, the 19th, and things really get underway on Thursday, and then it ends on that Sunday. I've done I looked into it after that, went back over, Cyberplucker mailing list mailings and all those kinds of things. And folks, this is, from what I can gather, one of the best Autoharp gatherings in the country. I'm going to get to participate in it. I'm going to be doing a couple of workshops and an on-stage performance. I don't know all the details yet, but I've been asked to join the staff, and I'm really honored by that. If you are interested in going to that gathering and watching me make a fool of myself,
you will not.
The website is calautoharp.com, CALAUTOHARP.com. It's going to be held at the St. Nicholas Ranch, and I had a friend of mine look that up on the web, and he told me it's a beautiful place. It's a resort, and I don't know what all. Just outside of Fresno, California. There's plenty of room. They have a very large staff that will see to your every need and keep you entertained. And it's going to be a good time. And I get to go. So I want to thank Mike and everybody there. And I will get with those of you who have done workshops before to give me some tips and tricks so that it all comes out well. But anyway, make your plans now to go out there and see me and everybody else. Man, they've had some people out there. Brian Bowers has been out there. Jim Queskin with the Jim Queskin Jug Band's been out there. All kind of people have done the California Autoharp gathering. So if you can and things open up like they look like they're going to be, we hope to see you there.
Well, I had a comment from Bob. You make us laugh in
Thank you,
reference
Bob.
to the last song. And
I don't know if there's a little league for cricket
I don't know.
over there. That's a game I'd like to watch. I watch sports from other places. I love Australian football, for example.
You have to stay up into the night to watch
I do,
that
yeah.
one.
You have to stay up
Yeah.
half the night to watch it, but I like it better than American football, I'll tell you that. Anyway, let us see.
Flip said, let me know. Got friends who would like to meet you. Bladesmiths, SC80ans. Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
it'll be the yeah. We'll try to do it. But I'll be there from the 19th through the 24th or 5th. Let's see. 19th is Tuesday, 20th is Wednesday, 23rd, 1st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th. It's the 19th through the 24th is the actual show. People start arriving on the 19th, and I think the main festivities get underway on the 21st. I will have more information as to who's going to be there and all of that as
We get
the
closer.
time approaches. It's an international gathering too. They've had people from Germany, maybe Ziggy's been there, Australia, all kinds of
goodness.
places. So it certainly has an international flavor, and I can't wait to go. And Mike wanted me to let you know that you can call him or email him. His contact information's on the website. If they have any questions, if you have any questions, by all means, get with Mike and he'll fix you right up. All right, here's a song about love found and love lost. It's called "I'm Kissing You Goodbye." The first time I met you, dear, was love at first sight. Your steamy-eyed glances. The first time I met you, dear, you flashed that come-on smile. Your steamy-eyed glances nearly drove me wild. So we drove out to the country and parked beneath the stars. You fogged up my windshield and set my soul afire. You moved into my place the very same night. I was so happy, dear, it was love at first sight. But one day I came home early in the middle of next week. Found a man in my closet, he was playing hide and seek. Well, I may be stupid, but I'll never understand why he was playing hide and seek with all his clothes in his hand. So get your feet off my table, get your shoes from under my bed. Get your hat off my hat rack and put it on your head. Get your coat out of my closet and put it on your back. Get your Furlin Husky records, darling, it's time for you to pack. Get your arms from around me, Ain't no use to cry. Get your tongue out of my mouth, 'cause I'm kissing you goodbye. Get your tongue out of my mouth and wipe off that silly grin. Get your tongue out of my mouth, ain't no telling where it's been. Get your tongue out of my mouth, don't try that again. Get your tongue out of my mouth, get your tongue out of my mouth. Let's just say adios with a kiss and a sigh. Get your tongue out of my mouth, 'cause I'm kissing you goodbye. Sadie!
Sadie, no.
Sorry, folks. Somehow, for some reason, Sadie wants to dig up the carpet.
She's trying to make a bed.
Hey!
Sadie, no. Get up there. That's right. You're a good dog.
Either that, if she does that again, let's crate her,
Yeah,
because we
I'll
can't
to.
have this.
Okay. Go up there. Good dog.
Well, the flame, it has flickered and the passion has cooled. I hate to lose you, darling, but I won't be your fool. 'Cause you just can't be true, dear, you're spreading it around. You shattered all that matters, gonna have to put you down. Get your dog out of my doghouse, get your cat out of my tree. Get your bird out of my bird cage, I'm setting you free. Get your toothbrush out of my bathroom, get your stockings off my line. Get your curlers off my dresser, darling, you ain't no friend of mine. Get your arms from around me, I won't believe your lies. Get your tongue out of my mouth, 'cause I'm kissing you goodbye. Get your tongue out of my mouth and wipe off that silly grin. Get your tongue out of my mouth, ain't no telling where it's been. Get your tongue out of my mouth, don't try that again. Get your tongue out of my mouth, get your tongue out of my mouth. I'll just say adios with a kiss and a sigh. Get your tongue out of my mouth, 'cause I'm kissing you goodbye.
That one.
Sorry about that, folks.
Well, Sadie can't do that.
She
We
can't help
let her
it.
do
She's
that.
sick, but she's.
Well, we can't let her do that.
We can't let her do that.
It's our new carpet.
Yeah, and you know, you get to hear my command pitch.
Oh, yes. Well, it worked.
I love my dogs, and I love them to death. But when it comes right down to it, they have to obey.
You are the alpha.
And I'm the
that's
one.
that.
I'm the lawgiver.
That's right.
And that's why our dogs impress everybody everywhere they go.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I have Bob saying the singing postman Norfolk does a funny song about cricket. And Ziggy said, no,
Okay.
never been to CAG. Will there be live streaming this year?
I don't know, but as soon as I find out, I will bring it to you here. And I'll put a post on the Autoharp Down Home page, and I'll bring it up the show right after I find out. I assume that, well, I just don't know. This is so new and surprising to me.
Well, that's right. Speechless.
Yeah,
You are.
exactly. And that's hard to do.
Yeah, that is hard.
It really
to
is.
do. But as you can see, you're speechless.
Among other things.
I mean, wow, though, really, that's so exciting.
Well, yeah, I'm very, very honored.
Honored, yes.
To be asked to do that.
Yes.
And I will. Well, let me get to that in just a little bit. If Sadie does that again, let's crate her. Even if you have to walk out and check
I will.
on her a few
If
times.
I get up and leave, that's what's going on.
Yeah, she can't do that.
Yeah. So far, she's being a
Great
good girl.
Danes can destroy stuff and not even mean to because of their
No.
size and their strength and power. They were bred to hunt wild pigs before the world had guns and gunpowder and stuff. And they would surround a boar and hold it down so that the lord of the manor and all his boys could stick spears in it and kill it. So they're They're
very
quite strong and
powerful,
very
very strong.
powerful. They're
Yeah.
very, very friendly. But may God have mercy on your soul if you ever manage to tick one off, because, ooh, I've seen it. It's not pretty.
Well, if I could just get her to dig like that in my garden, it'd be so helpful. Because, boy, she can make the dirt fly when she's working on it.
It's not nice to make me laugh when I'm trying.
I'm real sorry about that.
Okay. Here's a song that's as political as I ever get. It's called Three Fractured Factions. Well, welcome to American politics with its backroom deals and its dirty tricks. There's all kinds of groups and all kinds of factions, but it all boils down to this little fraction. There's a third on the right and a third on the left and a third in the middle that's scared half to death that they'll either get nuked or taxed after death by the third on the right and the third on the left, and there's a third on the left and a third on the right and a third in the middle that can't sleep nights cause of corporate greed and government theft by the third on the right and the third on the left. Now, unbridled greed without regulation leads to overspending your capitalization, and without any rules against misbehaving, you're going to find out that Bernie's made off with your savings. Don't let them government bureaucrats loose. They'll bust every nest egg and kill every goose and tax every dollar that you manage to save and control what you do from the cradle to the grave. There's a third on the right and a third on the left and a third in the middle that's scared half to death that they'll either get nuked or taxed after death by the third on the right and the third on the left, and there's a third on the left and a third on the right and a third in the middle that can't sleep nights cause of corporate greed and government theft by the third on the right and the third on the left. Well, I'm a red, white, and blue American cat, and I'm suspicious of Republicans and Democrats. I get nervous when Washington makes a decision, but I draw comfort from this division. There's a third on the right and a third on the left and a third in the middle that's scared half to death that they'll either get nuked or taxed after death by the third on the right and the third on the left, and there's a third on the left and a third on the right and a third in the middle that can't sleep nights cause of corporate greed and government theft by the third on the right and the third on the left, and there's a third on the left and a third on the right and a third in the middle that can't sleep nights cause of corporate greed and government theft by the third on the right and the third on the left.
Yes.
Seems to me, I'm just an old country boy and I don't know much about much, but it seems to me if we could all meet in the middle, we'd be a whole lot happier, but that's just my opinion.
There you go.
All right.
Bob's have a like up on that one.
Well, thank you, Bob.
No, well, I didn't know if it was Bob. I was going to say, Bob said we have a mini dachshund, and then he said who, G-A-D. I don't know what he meant there.
Who God?
Oh,
who God? Egads kind of thing.
Yeah.
Dachshunds.
Ivan set up a like.
Thank you, Ivan.
That one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm a conciliator. I believe in.
Sorry, George. I think my foot did that. There, is that better?
Yeah, there we go. It still isn't exactly where I want it.
Fix it. There we go.
I'm
going to put my foot right on that.
Yeah, okay.
We're messing with a cover for the air conditioning vent,
Where,
which is
I
kind of
set this
right
whole
up his
shot up,
leg.
rearranged the whole room and everything, only to discover that there's a heat vent right here.
In there between us.
I don't care, but it introduces background noise.
It does. Also, it would blow right up your leg, and that.
I don't care.
Maybe.
About that. I'm a trooper.
But you were saying
I'd play the Autoharp in a blizzard if somebody'd listen to me.
But we prefer right down the middle.
Yeah,
people
we're
getting along.
we're apolitical, or at least
Well, I've
much.
gotten there these days too because I just don't like the division. And it seems
Yeah,
that too many people are
it's
working that
unfortunate.
direction.
Anyway, enough of
Enough
that.
of that. Moving on. Sorry about
Dachshunds are interesting little dogs. They were bred originally in Germany to go down into burrows and kill badgers. Now, I don't know if y'all have ever seen a badger before or not, but they're one mean son of a
creature.
gun.
Yeah.
So these guys would get together packs of these little dachshunds, and they go down and they'd take care of business. So yeah, they're a high drive, got to do something all the time kind of dog.
Also, those guys can run like you
Oh,
would
yeah.
not believe those little dogs
They
can
wipe
run.
their feet and fly, buddy.
Yes,
They sure can. So I know I'm familiar with the breed, Bob, and
indeed.
I like them. They're cool little dogs, but you gotta have something for them to do, or they get barky and nippy and become just a little ankle biter. But it's not because they're brainless. It's because they're bored.
Yeah.
All right. All these cell phones. I just don't know what the world's coming to. We got all these cell phones and stuff out there now. This is a song called Hang Up and Drive. And it was written by C.W. Kalb. He's written some other stuff for Ray. And I'm going to look up his list and see if I can see what else he wrote. This is called Hang Up and Drive. He had a cheeseburger in one hand, French fries propped up on the seat, an ice Coca-Cola in his cup holder, and to make the scene complete, he was searching for a pen and paper to make a note of things to take home. Still, he might have missed that concrete truck, but he was talking on his mobile phone. Hang up and drive, you're driving me crazy. Put down that phone, put both hands on your steering wheel. Hang up and drive, you're driving me crazy. That ain't no phone booth, son, it's your automobile. She had a vanity mirror up in her face, messing with her hair. In her high-rise four-wheel drive, sitting way up in the air. She just put on her makeup, plugged her curling iron into the dash. But when she tried to dial her mobile phone, that's when we heard the crash. Hang up and drive, you're driving me crazy. Put down that phone, put both hands on your steering wheel. Hang up and drive, you're driving me crazy. That ain't no phone booth, gal, it's your automobile. You see him out there, friends, it's scary. Every Tom, Dick, Jane, and Mary talking with that phone stuck in their ear. Laughing, crying, yelling, talking. Most sane folks can't chew gum while walking. What makes them think they can talk on their phone and steer? Hang up and drive, you're driving me crazy. Put down that phone, put both hands on your steering wheel. Hang up and drive, you're driving me crazy. That ain't no phone booth, it's your automobile. That ain't no phone booth, it's your automobile.
Good song, good song.
So true.
Yeah.
We've traded drunken driving for that.
For that.
Everybody can do that. You don't even have to be of legal age. All right.
Bob said, you are right, George, about dachshunds. Our Sage, rat bag, 2-year-old, and is sharp as a tack.
Yes.
Yeah, they're very smart.
You can teach them to do all kinds of things. I've worked with... See, I used to do I used to be a dog trainer. When I was a teenager and still had just a little bit of vision, not a whole lot, but a little bit, I got a job helping to train narcotics and explosives finding dogs. Back then they were called E&N dogs, explosives and narcotics dogs. And I've trained. I wasn't the main trainer for them, but I was a handler. And then I've had 7 guide dogs, and I've trained, oh goodness, probably a couple hundred dogs for people for obedience and things like that.
We did that for a while.
We did that for a long time, made some money at it. So dogs are a big part of my family.
Yes.
If I win the MLAG endowment, which I've applied for to make a CD, I'm going to do a CD with all songs about dogs. Next to Linda and my kids, dogs are
Yes.
my favorite thing.
Well, and me too. I just love dogs. Oh, Libby is here. Libby
Hello, Libby!
tuned in time to hear this great song about Hang Up and Drive. Love it.
Good.
So it's good to have you with us.
It's wonderful to see you. I'm glad you could make it.
And that's a good song to come in on. That just
That's
is a
right.
good song. So
Opposed to some of the ones you missed earlier.
I'm sure a lot of people would sing that song driving down the road. Hang up and drive, people.
Yeah.
Come on.
Just don't get so distracted singing it that you don't drive.
No. Therein lies danger.
Indeed. Here is a song called... Okay. There was a cartoon show. Actually, there have been a couple of iterations of this, but when my kids were growing up in the 80s, there was a cartoon called... what was it? Teenage Mutant Kung Fu Turtles or something like that.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles.
I
That's
got it. I can't say the first part.
Teenage Mutant Ninja
Then
Turtles.
I'll say ninja, and we'll have.
And they all had California accents and stuff, and they were these people. And my kids just loved them. And about that time, Ray came up with a parody of that. It's called Teenage Mutant Kung Fu Chickens.
Oh no.
On a chicken farm just downstream from Oak Ridge, Tennessee, a nuclear reactor leaked some water accidentally. What happened then was like a horror story by Ralph Nader. That toxic waste leaked into a brood house incubator. Inside that chicken coop, they always kept the TV on. They said the programs helped the chicks to grow, helped to keep them calm. Four little chickens put that heavy water down their gullets. A kung fu show was on the air. Something happened to those pullets. They began to grow and grow. That kung fu show was locked into their brains, the only way they could explain. Teenage Mutant Kung Fu Chickens, big as a house, strong as the Dickens. Anything they want, it's easy pickings. Okay, Sadie. A Teenage Mutant Kung Fu Chicken. One said his name was Fricassee, the second, Cordon Bleu. The third was Cacciatore, and the fourth they just called Stew. They could have been dangerous growing like they did on heavy water, but they decided they would live their lives on the side of law and order. Teenage Mutant Kung Fu Roosters, bad guys won't have it easy like they used to. They come with taekwondo and all the fixins. Those teenage mutant kung fu chickens. We was all down at the barn having an auction so we wouldn't lose the place. And all of a sudden, 4 giant pullets with black scars wrapped around their foreheads come up over the hill. Started pecking them bankers on top of the head, dropping them like green persimmons. Then they went on down to the lower 40 and started scratching around as chickens is wont to do. Before we knew it, they had that whole field planted and plowed and ready for planting. They saved our farm. Teenage mutant kung fu chickens. Big as a house, strong as the Dickens. Anything they want is easy pickings for teenage mutant kung fu chickens. For teenage mutant kung fu chickens.
Oh my. Oh goodness. Oh, Bob said, yes, please, a CD about dogs.
Yeah,
So,
I hope to get to do it. And I'm going to, if I do get to do it, I'm going to donate half the proceeds to a school that trains guide dogs. I'm going to hold back enough to try to do another CD or a second release of this one. I'm going to set up a marketing effort with animal shelters and veterinarians and people. I've got people working on that. I'm going to set up an e-commerce site so that all of you folks who've made CDs in the past and have got a basement full of them can, get some ink, get some advertising, and maybe get some sales. I want everybody to do well.
Nan said LOL, and Dan said air. I need air. And Libby said, George, you have that squawking down.
Thank you.
Yes, Libby. Yes, he does.
Well,
that's a good song.
I was a farm kid, yes. And my father worked for the post office, and one day he came home and he had a back seat and trunk full of chicks that somebody had not picked up, and they were 3 days. They'd been there for 3 days, and they just gave them to him for like $3 a crate. And we wound up with 900 chickens.
Oh, my.
Oh, God. We spent that night and part of the night. He got them on a Friday, fortunately. We spent half that night and all day Saturday building a chicken house and a hen yard. And, oh, God. I got so tired of chicken. We had boiled chicken, fried chicken, baked chicken. We canned chicken. We had, oh, my. Yeah.
But your mom was really into chickens.
She
had
did. She
some
loved
beautiful
chickens.
Game roosters and some bandy chickens.
She had bandies. She had
guinea
guineas.
chickens.
And she had those South American chickens that lay green eggs.
Then she got peacocks. She got 2 of them. And you talk about racket. Those guys can set up a racket. If you've ever been around peacocks, you know what I'm talking about.
They are something else. Well, after that, I think we need a little drink. Yes. Here's a song called "The Day That Clancy Drowned." In the town of old Milwaukee, back in 1982, he celebrated 40 years of making that famous brew. Master of the taster's art, Milwaukee's #1. He could fairly feel the flavor as it swished across his tongue. Overtime and weekends, old Clancy never shirked. They said it was amazing how much Clancy loved his work, until that scorching afternoon when he made his final rounds. He fell into the 60,000-gallon vat and drowned. Oh, the day that Clancy drowned. You know, he could have called for help, but Lord, he never made a sound. We all tried to rescue him, but we didn't have no luck. 'Cause he dived to the bottom, and we couldn't pull him up. It was a solemn occasion when his buddies gathered round. They had to make arrangements for to put him in the ground. When they took the dear departed over to the funeral place, it took 'em 7 hours to get that big smile off his face. Brother Daniels preached the funeral, and he had some words to say about the life of Brother Clancy and how he passed away. Could it not have been avoided, said he, that he should meet such a tragic end? Well, preacher, he got out 3 times to go to the bathroom, but he always jumped back in. Oh, the day that Clancy drowned. He was blowing pearly bubbles and swimming all around, a giggling and a gurgling and a wearing that silly grin. But he fought us like a flounder when we tried to haul him in. Oh, the day that Clancy drowned. He was blowing pearly bubbles and swimming all around, a gurgling and a giggling and wearing that silly grin. But he fought us like a flounder when we tried to haul him in. Oh, the day that Clancy drowned.
Goodness.
What a way to go.
Really. Dan said, Linda and I think we need a CD about cats.
Can you find... See, here's the thing.
So...
You guys are the ones to play it, but can you find that many songs about cats? It's a very interesting thing, and it may be my prejudices in play here, but how many songs about cats can you bring to mind? Really, honestly, think about it.
We need to hunt some, though.
The cat thinks back. The cat came back. See? Oh, the cat came back the very next day. The cat came back and he wouldn't stay away. Meow, kitty, meow, so pretty. Meow, such a kitty, but the cat came back. Okay.
You've got a good start right there.
You got that one.
We got. we're doing good so far.
We are Siamese, if you please. We are Siamese, if you don't please. We are. Anyway, that's from Lady and the Tramp. We got that. We got the Pussycat song, but you can't sing that in polite company. Miss Linda will not let me sing it.
Not that song.
I can't sing that one.
Well, there's other good songs about cats.
Are there really? Name one.
Well, I think we should put Dan and Linda.
No. You said there are other good songs about cats.
I just figure that.
I hope there are. But
well, then we'd better get this in right.
So, if you, yeah. So, if you guys want to do a CD about cats, and you can find enough songs, but I guarantee you, I won't guarantee you, but I'd be willing to bet you a case of your favorites that you'll find more songs about dogs than you will about cats.
Most of the dog songs are sad songs. A lot of them are.
I like cats. I really do. Depends on how they're cooked. But
you should stop. That's not nice.
I know.
Oh, also Flip said, I miss my poultry, ducks, geese, ducks, and guineas.
Yeah.
And she said, Araucana or Americana are the South American chickens that lay colored eggs.
Oh, okay. I will say this. Philippa's cats, I liked.
She always had good cats.
She always had really good cats. She's got a way with cats, man.
Yeah, she does.
She really has.
We had some cool cats.
And what is it about a cat that causes it to go up to the person in the room that least wants to see it and crawl in that person's lap and rub all over them and
They're
everything.
trying to make a...
Cats are evangelistic.
Yeah,
they want to win you over.
That's right.
Can't blame them.
Bob said Mike Fenton has recorded songs about cats. So
Has he?
They must be out there.
They must be. I might have blinders on, so
Yes,
I apologize.
because you're not a fan.
I apologize to all the cat lovers out there.
Including
I really
me.
have never eaten a cat, and I don't plan to.
Boy, you should not discuss cats.
No,
Well, I
I
grew up
wouldn't.
with Siamese cats.
Hey,
so
I found a cat, and I brought it home for my kids. I found a kitten that was starving. My guide dog Tisha and I were walking home from work, and his cat, somebody dumped him.
Was
and
that
all
Smokey?
all of its litter mates were dead. And I picked it up, and I put it in my shirt, and I carried it home, and we fed it, and we got it vaccinations.
I had to tell you, I was surprised that he did that.
And because my daughter wanted a cat,
Yeah.
and I brought the cat home, and you know, we adopted the cat. We did everything we could to make it at home. It would actually crawl up in my lap and stuff, and it was a nice cat. Well, there were these two old ladies who lived down the street from
right.
us.
And he would go visit
And
them.
they fed him. We were feeding him dry cat food with water on it, or we'd mix powdered milk up and put on it. They fed him canned dog food.
Mm-hmm.
Gone. Never saw the cat again. Sorry, Jack, I've got a better deal down the road. Dog would never do that.
Flip said, easy. They don't want people to mess with them, so they go to the person least likely to annoy them. There you go.
That's a good idea.
Smart kitty.
Okay.
Well, one thing we did wrong, we got a Great Dane.
We had the Great Dane when the cat...
No, we got Shadow after he'd been around a little while. Then
Excuses.
Yeah, I know. he stayed away longer after.
He started staying away when they fed him canned dog food.
I believe
We even
you.
bought canned dog food, but they had better canned dog food than we did.
Than we did.
Yeah. Let's see here.
That was our first Great Dane.
Shadow. Good dog. You can take the house and take the car, they don't mean a thing to me. I'll even throw the neighbors in all their sympathy. You take me for the fool I am, but keep one thing in mind. Take your love and put it where the sun don't shine. 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 Just pick it in the darkest place that you can find. Take your love and put it where the sun don't shine. You can take the car and the stereo and the silver tone guitar. Anything else you want. I'll even load it in the car. Take your brother and take your mother and all your tacky friends. I'll even rent a U-Haul to haul you all in. Where the sun don't shine. Where the sun don't shine. Where the sun don't shine. Just pick it in the darkest place that you can find. Take your love and put it where the sun don't shine. Away my manly pride and didn't leave a trace. You knocked me down and held me up and threw it in my face. You almost took my sanity, now give me peace of mind. Take your love and put it where the sun don't shine. 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 Just stick it in the darkest place that you can find. Take your love and put it where the sun don't shine. 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 Just stick it in the darkest place that you can find. Take your love and put it where the sun don't shine. Take your love and put it where the sun don't shine.
That's a nice one.
Yeah, I love songs like that. You just bust out, pick them out.
Well, I like the Autoharp on that a lot.
All right. It's a lot of fun to play. I love bluegrass anyway. Bluegrass and folk music are the genres that I like best. Let us move on. Here's a song that was a big hit for Ray. I mean, a huge hit. It's called The Mississippi Squirrel Revival. Every summer I'd take a trip. Let's try this again. When I was young, I'd take a trip every summer down to Mississippi to visit my granny in her antebellum world. I'd run barefooted all day long, climbing trees as free as a song. One day, I happened to catch myself a squirrel. I stuffed him down in an old shoebox and punched a couple of holes in the top, and when Sunday came, I snuck him into church. I was all the way back in the very last pew, showing him off to my good buddy Hugh when that squirrel got loose and went totally berserk. What happened then is hard to tell. Some thought it was heaven, some thought it was hell, but the fact that something was among us was plain to see. As the choir sang, I surrender all, the squirrel crawled up Harv Newman's coveralls. Harv leaped to his feet, said, "Something got a hold on me." Yow! The day the squirrel went berserk in the first self-righteous church in that sleepy little town of Pascagoula. It was a fight for survival that broke out in revival. They were jumping pews and shouting hallelujah. Harv hit the aisles, dancing and screaming. Some thought he had religion, and some thought he had a demon, and Harv thought he had a weed eater loose in his Fruit of the Looms. Well, he fell to his knees to plead and beg, and the squirrel crawled out of his breeches leg, unobserved, to the other side of the room. All the way back to the Amen pew where sat Sister Bertha Better Than You, observing all the commotion with sadistic glee. But you should have seen the look in her eyes when that squirrel jumped her garters and crossed her thighs. She jumped straight up and said, "Lord, have mercy on me." That squirrel ran laps inside her dress, and she began to cry and then to confess to sins that would make a sailor blush with shame. She told of gossip and church dissension, but the thing that got the most attention was when she talked about her love life and started naming names. The day the squirrel went berserk in the first self-righteous church in that sleepy little town of Pascagoula. It was a fight for survival that broke out in revival. They were jumping pews and shouting hallelujah. 7 deacons and the pastor got saved, and $25,000 got raised, and 50 volunteered for missions to the Congo on the spot. And even without an invitation, there were at least 500 rededications, and we all got rebaptized whether we needed it or not. Now, you've read the Bible story, I guess, how he parted the waters for Moses to pass. Oh, the miracles God hath wrought in this old world. But the one I'll remember to my dying day is how he put that church back on the narrow way with a half-crazed Mississippi squirrel. The day the squirrel went berserk in the first self-righteous church in that sleepy little town of Pascagoula. It was a fight for survival that broke out in revival. They were jumping pews and shouting hallelujah. The day the squirrel went berserk in the first self-righteous church in that sleepy little town of Pascagoula. It was a fight for survival that broke out in revival. They were jumping pews and shouting hallelujah.
Had several ha-has and likes from Ivan on that one.
Thanks, Ivan. Thanks very much.
Yes. That's a good song. I can picture it. That's the thing. Old Ray's got away with words.
Well, and can you make that up?
I don't know.
I mean, can you make that up? I'm not sure. It didn't really happen somewhere. A lot of Ray's stuff is based on things he heard. You know, he's kind of like a troubadour that way. Mm-hmm. By the way, folks, there's still time to register for the 2021 virtual Mountain Laurel Autoharp gathering.
Oh, yes.
You don't want to miss it. There are going to be 17 events. There's going to be workshops. There's going to be Pete Daigle's going to be there. There are 17 workshops, and there's a social hour every day, and registration is only $120 if you want everything. If you don't, you can select various things. Each event is $10, and if you register an event on that day, you will be allowed to be in the social hour, and you can meet all kinds of people from everywhere in the Autoharp community. So if you haven't already registered, go to mlag.org and get signed up, because it's something you won't want to miss. It starts on the 23rd of June and goes from the 23rd through the 27th. I think the winner of the Cohen Grappel CD endowment will be announced there. I hope it's me. But even if it isn't, I'm going to be there, and I hope you all will be too. It's all going to be conducted over Zoom, and it's going to be a whole lot better than the concert window things that they used to do. So if you haven't already done so, go to mlag.org and sign up for that. And
Ziggy said, I've booked the whole package of the virtual MLAG this year. Good.
Good.
Yes,
I'll see you there.
Yes.
I will see you there, sir.
And Ivan said I'll be doing 2 workshops. Hey.
All right.
You don't want to miss those.
I can see how you do them. That way I won't mess them up when I do them at California. That's cool.
Hey, yeah.
That's
that's
really
a good point, though, really.
Yeah.
Look forward to those.
I look forward to the whole thing.
To all of it, yeah.
I'll be on the same footing as everybody else, because in 18 and 19, I bought the concert window package. I bought all of those things. Boy, I wish I could be there someday, and so.
Well, and you're you're working on going next year to actually go.
I am.
Definitely have that
with y'all's help.
Yes.
We'll get there, and I'll talk more about that here in a little bit. We still need to get right with God.
Oh, okay.
So
the
here's
squirrel
another.
didn't do it, huh?
No.
The squirrel didn't. We didn't get it done.
Didn't.
Tried. It really did.
Here's another one. I'm not going to give you the title because it'll give it away.
Okay.
This is earlier. This predated. This predated the Mississippi Squirrel Revival. You'll hear a lot of the same melody components to it. So this is the precursor to that. Well, me and Doris went on vacation, decided we needed more than recreation, so we were enrolled in a Bible camp retreat. I got the directions and we took off, and only took 6 hours to get completely lost way back up in the mountains of East Tennessee. Well, it was getting real dark and I was starting to threaten. Doris said, "Look yonder, bet that's it," pointed to the lights of a little church way back in the bush. An old man met us, and I said, "Just two," and he took us down to the very first pew. I said, "Doris, I don't think this is the right place." She just said, "Hush." Well, they preached some sermons and sang some songs and preached some more. I went on and on, nearly wore me out. I had about all I could take. Then things got quiet and they pulled the shades down. The man beside me punched me, said, "Here, pass this down." I turned around and looked, and son of a gun, he handed me a snake. The day or the night that me and Doris went running through the forest, way back up in the hills of Tennessee. Oh, we started making tracks when they broke out the Diamondbacks. Sure scared the devil out of poor old Doris and me. He said, "Take it, man, don't you believe?" I said, "I believe all right, I believe I'll leave." I grabbed Doris, but she done fainted away white as a sheet. Well, I couldn't pick her up, and I couldn't find the door, and them rattlers was crawling all around the floor. Friends, that's when the spirit hit my feet. I started running down aisles and bouncing off walls, and it looked like somebody teed up a new golf ball in a tile bathroom. Friends, I was moving on. I'd run by Doris every minute or two, and I'd shake her trying to wake her, but it wasn't no use. For a while there, I thought the good Lord had called the poor thing home. Then someone dropped a biggin in her lap, and Doris came to, and something in her snapped. She grabbed that sucker by the tail and started swinging it around her head. She gave it a crack like Lash LaRue, and the head flew off and sailed across the room. Then she did a tap dance on the rest of them suckers till they was all dead. I grabbed Doris by the arm and we headed for the car. She hollered at the preacher, "I don't know who you are or where you came from or how you ever learned how to preach. But let me tell you this, you old rascally scamp. You don't know nothing about running no Bible camp, and me and my husband are on our way to Daytona Beach." Oh, the night that me and Doris went running through the forest, way back up in the hills of Tennessee. Oh, they started making tracks when they broke out the Diamondbacks. Sure scared the devil out of poor old Doris and me. Sure scared the devil out of poor old Doris and me.
Oh my.
That's my poor imitation of a rattlesnake there.
Not bad. Oh. And Libby replied to Ziggy and said, "Me too."
Yeah.
And Ivan's showing me clapping hands on that last song. Oh. I like that one.
Well, that's one you don't hear very often.
I was going to say, I didn't...
He did that probably 10 years or more
funny.
Before he did the other one.
Oh.
And I came across it. A friend of mine gave me a bunch of Ray's CDs that he didn't want anymore.
Libby said, "Good one."
Thank you, Libby. Wait till you hear the one we're going to do tonight. If you think these are funny.
I don't know which one you're doing tonight. Don't tell me.
I won't.
But I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, we've got drunk. We've got religion. Let's go fishing. Well, Me and this buddy Harold of mine decided we'd go out fishing one time, so we drove to the lake with my brand new bass boat. I brought the fishing poles, pork and beans, saltine crackers, and canned sardines, and Harold brought all the booze one man could tow. I was loading the boat and filling the tank and trying to get that motor to crank. Harold just sat there sipping on a long-neck beer. I was steering the boat and tying the plugs, and Harold was drinking moonshine straight from the jug, and he sang Melancholy Baby before we left the pier. Whoa! Never go fishing with a man who has been drinking, 'cause things just might not work out like you wish. Leave that fool at home to drink, he'll be just as happy fishing in the kitchen sink. Don't go near the water with a man too drunk to fish. I was concentrating, perfecting my cast, trying to land me a trophy bass, and Harold was having trouble trying to find the lake. Next to him, right by his feet, was an anchor line coiled nice and neat. Harold saw it, turned white as a ghost, and hollered, "Snake!" He jumped straight up and started to yell. I said, "Sit down, Harold, and behave yourself. Can't you see that's nothing but a piece of rope?" But he was scared to death, plumb out of his mind, trying not to get bit by that anchor line, and he grabbed up my shotgun and blew a hole in the bottom of the boat. Harold, never go fishing with a man who has been drinking, 'cause things just might not work out like you wish. Leave that fool at home to drink, he'll be just as happy fishing in the kitchen sink. Don't go near the water with a man too drunk to fish. Now too drunk to fish is too drunk to swim. I was dog paddling, dragging him, and I finally found a sandbar big enough for two. It was long after dark when the helicopter came with that big searchlight, big blue searchlight calling our name. Harold looked up and said, "Lord, is that you?" Then Harold knelt in that heavenly glow and said, "Lord, you know I ain't ready to go, but if you pass me by tonight, I will reform." Well, they dropped the raft and I paddled us home. Harold hasn't touched a drop from that day on. The Lord works in mysterious ways, his miracles to perform. Never go fishing with a man who has been drinking, 'cause things just might not work out like you wish. Leave that fool at home to drink, he'll be just as happy fishing in the kitchen sink. Don't go near the water with a man too drunk to fish. No, don't go near the water with a man too drunk to fish.
All right. Nancy Stiles says, "Great tunes today, George."
Thanks, Nancy. Thank you.
And Bob Hale, "Thank you, lovely couple, for your 2 hours of fun. Love you. P.S. We have folk putting ferrets down their trousers."
Where are we on time?
Excuse me, 2:54.
Okay. All right.
And I'm sorry about yawning, but I just didn't get a lot of sleep.
Well, she's been
yes,
nursing Sadie.
I know. I don't mean to do it.
Here's one I've done several times that you'll recognize. It's called Power Tools.
Oh.
This is one of Lynn's and
This is
Amber's
one of my
favorites. Now, some folks say grown-up men are still just little boys, and really the only difference is the price of our toys. They go for macho symbols like guns and running shoes, pick up trucks and hunting ducks and power tools, power tools, power tools. You just plug them in the wall and think of all you can do. You can plant a garden, fix your car, build a house if you want to, if you got the proper power tool. Hello? 911? Yeah, I was out in the front yard testing out my brand new gas-powered weed whacker there. Somehow or another she got caught on the hammer loop of my Big Smith overalls. Yeah, before I could shut her down, she screwed me 3 feet down in the middle of the front yard there. My wife looked out the door and hollered, "Hey, Shorty, long as you're down there, why don't you check the fescue for aphids?" That woman's a real comedian. Hardy, har, har. Now some folks say macho men use tools to compensate for a lack of virility. Well, I thought about that, but wait. There may be some validity in what those people say, but in my case, it's the only way I can get outside and play. Oh, I love this stuff. Power tools. Power tools. You just plug them in the wall and think of all you can do. You can plant a garden, fix a car, build a house if you want to, if you've got the proper power tool. Hello? Emergency? Yeah, I was out in the garden testing out my brand new direct drive rototiller there. Somehow or another, the rawhide lace on my Red Goose work boots got caught on that outboard tiller tine. Yeah, before I could get her shut down, she drugged me plumb across the lawn up underneath my neighbor's Toyota 4x4. My wife looked out the door and hollered, "Hey, Shorty!" Funny how a name will stick with you like that. "Hey, Shorty, as long as you're going to be playing Mr. Goodwrench, it seems to me you'd work on our old jalopy first." That woman's regular Roseanne Barr. Now 911 rescued me, carried me away to the local hospital for at least a 2-week stay. The doctor said, "I hope you learned your lesson. Thanks to power tools, you're nearly dead." I didn't hear a word he was saying. I was playing with my power bed. Power tools. Power tools. Hello? Nurse's station? Send someone up to room 304 quick. My power bed's stuck in the upright position, and I'm stuck in here like a big taco. If you got the proper power tools.
We had a big ha-ha face just go up. And Ziggy said, "Thanks, George and Lynn, for this many funny songs. I used to like Ray Stevens' humorous songs as well. Have got 10 of his vinyl LPs. So not all of your songs were new to me, but your interpretation adds additional fun for sure."
Thank you, Ziggy.
And good songs cannot be heard too often, so bring them again as you like, with a smiley face.
All right. Well,
we love Ray.
We do.
We love Ray's stuff. And we have 258.
258.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, we have more songs than we've got time. We got way too many songs.
Well,
I got to pick this out. All right. You wanted songs about dogs. Here's a song that Ray did called The Dog Song. She said, "I'm tired of being treated like a dog. I'm out of here." When I heard those words, it really made me perk up my ears. I know she's been mistreated, but what she said is wrong. If he'd have treated her like a dog, she'd have never gone. If he had rolled around and played with her on the floor down in the den, taken her for nice long walks, given her a bath, and then dried her off, rubbed her tummy, scratched her behind her ears, well, I'll bet you a bag of kennel ration that she'd still be here if he had only treated her like a dog. Happy ever after would have been their epilogue. She'd have never strayed away from home. She'd have wagged her tail and tagged along if he had only treated her like a dog. He calls me Prince, treats me like a king. When it comes to her, I don't know why he can't do the same doggone thing. Like wash her dish and water bowl every night like he does mine. Compliment her, give her little treats from time to time. Let her out all on her own every now and then. Well, I'd have had me some stiff competition to be that man's best friend if he had only treated her like a dog. Happy ever after would have been there at the log. She'd have never strayed away from home. She'd have wagged her tail and tagged along if he had only treated her like a dog. If he had only treated her like a dog.
Libby said thank you, looking forward to tonight.
So am I.
And
I
Ziggy
love that
replied
group.
to Libby saying thank you, looking forward to tonight.
Indeed.
Ziggy, me too, to you. And then Bob Hale, how true. I like that one. I do. That's a good one. And
Right.
Nan said, great song.
Thank you. We're going to do one more because we have to give cats equal time, don't we?
I think
We
so.
really
I think,
should.
I think so.
We should really do that.
We need a good cat song.
Here's a kitty cat song to go with the dog song. Okay, how does this start? Oh, yeah. When I was young, I had a job with the fire department rescue squad, and one day we got a call to get a cat out of a drainage line. The lady was frantic and the day was hot. She mentioned that her kitty was an ocelot, a fact that did not seem all that important at the time. Because they're usually neutered, declawed, and defanged, but this little feller had everything, and when I found him in that drain line, he was a trembling, shaking mess. Well, I went to grab him, and he grabbed me first, and that's the worst I thought I'd ever been hurt, but that's before I hit my head on that big dirt dauber's nest. Since I was on my knees anyway, I figured I'd offer up a little prayer. Lord, have mercy on me, save a place in heaven for me, 'cause we're running out of room in this drainage pipe. The cat and the bees don't need no help, they're doing just fine all by themselves, but anything you could do for me, Lord, I'd sure be much obliged. Well, everywhere I grabbed was tooth and claws, like trying to fight a circle saw, and those bees, Lord have mercy, friends, they were all over me. It was a stinging, biting, clawing fight. Then I dropped my big flashlight, but it really didn't matter. I was hurting so bad I couldn't see. I was on my knees, so I couldn't stand up. I couldn't turn around, so I had to back up, but I could not see or remember which way I had come in from. I took a wrong turn and the grades turned steep. Me and the cat dropped 30 feet. And most of those bees followed us on down to that sewage treatment pond. You talk about stepping in it, friends. I was in it up to my clavicles. Lord, have mercy on me. Save a place in heaven for me, 'cause all of my strength is nearly gone. Bees are stinging and the cat can't swim, and I can't get away from either one of them. I think it's time you intervene, Lord, and call somebody home. Well, my buddies found me and pulled me free. Friends, I looked like a Christmas tree, and they sprayed the bees and gave the lady back her cat. I went home and showered about 14 times, got bandaged up, and did just fine. But in my whole life, I've never hurt so bad or smelled quite like that. And I remember praying, Lord, have mercy on me. Save a place in heaven for me, 'cause we're running out of room in this drainage pipe. Cat and the bees don't need no help. They're doing just fine all by themselves. But anything you can do for me, Lord, I'd sure be much obliged. Yeah, anything you can do for me, Lord, I'd sure be much obliged. Ew.
Goodness. Oh, goodness. Nan had said great song on the If He'd Only Treated her like a dog. And then Flip said, thanks, guys. Wanted to say bye before you guys vanished. We'll try to call this week.
Do that.
Do, please, yes.
Guys, it's been fun. Say, if you have a spare buck or two, I'd really appreciate it if you would put it in our tip jar. The information's at the bottom of the screen. It's a PayPal account. Go to PayPal and put in autoharp.down.home@gmail.com. And if you got a buck or two to spare, I'd really appreciate it if you could help us out. Every penny that you donate is going to go towards sending me to the 2022 Mountain Laurel Autoharp Gathering. And I hope I'll get to go as a CD prize winner. But even if I don't, my brother Dan and I are going to go, and we're just going to do everything there is to do. And we would really appreciate your support. You've been very generous in the past, yes. And we hope that you'll be able to continue to help us out. And by next year, we will have enough money to go and participate in all the events and all the things that MLAG 2022 will have to offer. It's really been great today. It's been a lot of fun. Swapped a lot of stories, sung a lot of songs.
I got a few more comments.
Okay.
Ziggy said that was a claustrophobic nightmare. And Dan said, now that's a cat song.
There you go.
Thanks for
That's
that.
one you can put on your album, Dan.
There you go. And Flip said, yeah, really, with a smiling face. And Bob Hale said, brilliant. And Dan said, sorry, we'll miss you tonight at the Zoom circle. We should be back next week. Yeah,
Dan's working with a theater group in Detroit at the Riverbank Theater. He's running the lights for a play that's run. Oh, I don't know. They've had like 17 episodes of it over the last couple of weeks, and break a leg, Dan.
Yes, do. But I guess that's.
All right, we will close with our usual tune.
Yes, that's about it for us today.
Now it's time to say goodbye to George and all his kin. We'd sure like to thank you folks for kindly dropping in. You're all invited back real soon to this locality to have a heaping helping of our hospitality. Down home style, that is. Set a spell. Take your shoes off. Y'all come back now here. So long, everybody.
I'm sorry. I thought when it stopped ringing, I was supposed to end it.
Yeah, it's okay.